Hey friends, welcome to my channel if you're new here. We're going to do some readings to research what harmonious twin flame union, the consciousness state, does for you. Besides be the foundation for your actual true twin flame development in which you're going to build your union, your relationship, your mission business, and everything that is connected to it, your family, your money life, everything that you want there on a true and tested basis. That's what I pass on. So, but within that given, some topics, and I wanted to start with one to research what that will transform for you in harmonious twin flame union. And the topic itself, science sounds kind of sad, but I mean, there we go. That's reality, social reality in the world has a lot of very sad topics, and this is really one of them. And even though I'm even thinking if YouTube will not like this certain word, I'm just going to say it. So the topic that we're going to research is how harmonious twin flame union heals rape culture. At least when I grew up, and also therefore the society in and around me and the social atmosphere, etc., was really rape culture. As a woman, it was really normal to not be allowed to have boundaries, and you were really like educated not to have them. And that it's like physical boundaries, intimate boundaries, sexual boundaries. And they could just be crossed anytime by grown-ups and therefore also by men. And, that was just something that got into me, was internalized, like, oh, that's apparently how the social world works of grown-ups. That's how the world works. And so that opens you up for being gone over your boundaries as a grown up as a default, especially by men. Because part of the rape culture, how I grew up, was also that men were treated favorably. They were allowed to, I don't know, be free, walk around, do their own thing, while women needed to be restricted, staying at home and doing what the parents said. And that was also for sexual behavior. Men were allowed to experiment with it, but females were not. They were supposed to be repressed by the men about it. And this is all really what happened to me as a child. And again, that is only intensely normal that you internalize that and then live in the results of this psychological setup in society as a grown-up. And then you can start to realize that something is deeply wrong here, which happened for me. And for me, it has already been completed, this healing, because I am in harmonious twin flame union and initiated as a teacher of it. And I have around 7 years of experience in trying to make this teachership work, and with a lot of adventures to be able to do that. And one of the things that happened in that time was that I also saw that, trauma can be completely healed by that, because I was deeply traumatized by all these deeply ingrained beliefs and experiences. Now, I believe in my case, it was actually like some sort of an overdone situation. It was really like, it was very like secretive, like we're very normal here and we're so positive, but it was like secretively was all of this what I just explained. And it was of course very sick, but that was like, relatively speaking, sicker than maybe some other parts of the society and bigger social circles that I grew up with. But I think that just made things clear to me, that it is, relatively speaking, everywhere like that. Very interesting observations, because you get a deep insight into how these things work, and you can see it in all kinds of layers and places, and etc. etc. So, if the gender norms would be turned around, then that is just as much rape culture, because, believe it or not, this whole setup, how I grew up, was actually implemented the most, and the most extreme, and really completely only by them, by the mother of that family. So, I mean, she was the one, that uh, sexually stalked, and went over boundaries with the men, and then they would do the same to the other female participants, etc. So it's really not against any gender. I take a little bit of my history to just sort of make this broad sketch of what I'm talking about. So, and although I already just in very short just admitted that for me it has already been completely resolved, and also that I actually feel that that was solely through the spiritual changes and healings that come through coming into harmonious twin flame union, the consciousness state. Still, I just actually would like to get a oracle card reading on the base of this to see what this means, and if it's in general true, and what's happening here. Is that like a general human condition, or like a Western society present day condition? And how does going to the twin flame harmonious union consciousness state contribute to, and in fact resolve it? And what kind of society are we looking forward to when more and more people go there? Because although it is still very small, what we're seeing with harmonious twin flame union, it's a growing thing nevertheless. So I did prepare a whole bunch of selection of my oracle cards, and I will ask Divine Mother to see through me what we're doing, and help me through this reading. So I saw that I was watching this deck. So I don't know, let's start there. So this is the Angel Oracle. No, the Angel Answers, of course. So maybe we get a little bit of a grasp on what I've just been saying as an introduction, how correct that is, or what brought us that, I don't know, not sure. So let's give it one more shuffle. Well, this is a very clear one that was sticking out. It's up to you. Okay. So you can change this. You can change these kinds of ingrained societal, social structures that actually, like rape the concept of love and of relationships and of marriage and of romance and of dating and of all the happy things that could be between two lovers. It's up to you to choose to change that. It's up to you, just like it's up to you to choose your true twin flame. I mean, it's up to you if you really go for it, not only having this, something passed by and it touched me deeply, but really choosing to, it's up to you to choose to say, yes, I am going to fully choose this, and no matter what it takes or costs or how long it takes or whatever, I'm going to pursue this. Even if it's an inner journey, I will do it. And therefore choose, to go for the true twin flame as the one and only life partner. And that is really up to you. Yeah, that's true. So that's, I think, a powerful thing about the whole twin flame journey, and and the healing of rape culture, that you can choose it. It's up to you. That is the empowerment of it. You can choose to stop it. You can choose to go for it fully and completely, the twin flame journey, right? With the right kind of helping elements and teacher and whatnot. You can choose for it. So that's your empowerment. It's like good news because it depends on you. You can say yes or research what this unconscious no is that you might be saying without fully realizing it, which then transforms it into a yes. And it's really, really, really up to you. It's really good news. So you can do something about it, about the twin flame and about rape culture. You can choose it. It's not up to your twin flame. It's not up to someone else. It's not up to your parents. It's not up to your therapist. It's not up to your friend circle. It's only up to you to say, I'm going to go to the healthy, the one and only solution to a healthy love relationship that there exists in the entire universe that will heal rape culture on the way there. And I can and I will choose that. She's really pointing, like this angel is like pointing at us. So I'm like, maybe another card wants to come out. Is that true, Divine Mother? That is helping me with my readings. Well, I don't know. I think not then. I mean, this was a pretty big sign, right? This is the big thing. It is up to you. And we don't realize that. And we just continue complaining about the twin flame and how much they are not coming home and whatnot, and not realizing that is really up to us. It's really up to us. We can choose. And we choose until the depth of our heart, where we are one with our true twin flame. And that's how you can influence the choice of your entire union, because you choose it to the degree of where your union is anchored inside of you. So you choose for your union, and your choice is the most healthy and the most divine one when you want to come in harmonious union. So that must then prevail, because we live in divine order, if you like it or not, if you reject that or not, we live in divine order. So yeah, it's like good news. Okay, so we have now the Dragon Fae, and this card wanted to come out. Lady Gryan, open your heart. So if we want to choose this, we need to open our heart. If you want to change the reality of how children grow up in a rape culture psychology, where it's normal to go over physical sexual boundaries, don't become extra closed up in your heart to protect yourself, so-called, but instead open your heart fully and permanently. How that is done in harmonious twin flame union, which is the permanent heart opening, in which you submit yourself to whatever comes through the heart from the divine. And you allow that to forever after come through you. That's how harmonious union is conceived of inside of yourself, this state of being. So don't go for extra protection. Open your heart completely so that you can't be deceived anymore. You can't be deceived anymore about what is what? What is healthy? What is unhealthy? What is rape culture and what is a way of embracing each other's presence in which we can be open with our boundaries and the difference between it. Because you can do it outside of the connection with the heart. You can do things outside the connection with the heart, like do relationship there, do marriage there, do friendship there, do sexuality there. And that is never going to amount to anything more than like bumping into each other's body, saying hi, or using each other's bodies for some physical feeling. But it will never amount to more than that. Just like a complete sad experience from whichever venture point you're coming. If you're coming from rape culture or you're coming from, well, we actually meant well, and it was like a mutually chosen situation by two adults, etc., how they say. But it's actually not with the heart open. So it's devoid of love. So it's about nothing. You will feel used. If you start to open your heart, you understand that that's just only using. And it does feel wrong when you finally open your heart. But some people live that as just like, but this is physical life. I don't know of any more in life. But if you open your heart, you start to understand that that was nothing. Yeah, essentially also nothing. It's also like nothing, like that didn't even happen in truth because it didn't happen in the heart. Or you do things including the heart with source, with the divine behind it, feeding that heart. You do it inside of it. You do relationship inside of it. You do growing up with children inside of it. You do developing your union with your true twin flame inside of the opening the heart atmosphere, where you're connected to source, where you're relating, where you're divinely relating. And everything will be made out of valuable, permanent experiences of true peace and gratitude and joy and beauty, because they touch you in a different way, because now your heart is open. And that's actually the true distinction between rape culture and harmonious twin flame union, is what Divine Mother wants to say. So that is actually more what this video is about. Very interesting. Thank you. So I feel that Divine Mother wants to show her face now. So we're going to get one of her emanations out of her card deck, made by or authored by Elena Fairchild. So show me this one. Our Lady of Answered Prayers. Our Lady of Answered Prayers. Very colorful, like a happy, passionate painting. Just like answered prayers are really happy, of course, and passionate and connected. It's like an answered prayer because we're talking about within heart opening, living there, doing relationship there, growing up there, doing society there. That's the answer to your prayer. Out of the lack and the poverty and the not having and the sadness about that and the feeling like an outsider because of that. And then you pray and you go to the place where there is connection, where there is Divine Mother that is helping you there in all ways, all round, in all aspects of your life, being compassionate and warm and true at the same time. She is about truth. Truth can be very direct, but there's also the compassion around it that warms you up for the receiving of truth. I hear your every thought, your every prayer uttered under the breath. I feel every beat of your sacred heart as it yearns for my limitless love. Do you imagine that I could be ignorant of that which you need the most? Or that I would neglect attending to the deepest needs of your sacred heart? Do you imagine that I am not moved by your suffering or your courage? My beloved, I have already answered your every heartbeat, and you must now look for me to see that I stand right before you and have never left you. I am with you now, and your prayers are answered through my miracles and my grace. Have faith in me. All right. The Mary Magdalene Oracle might be closing this off. The resurrection. The resurrection. Well, that does feel like a closing off of like a big thing here that we've been talking about. Like where you come through what we've discussed is a resurrection of how you're truly meant to be in your beingness. And that, of course, is being the twin flame of your twin flame, right? Being who you are in your union, directly open with your heart, connected into the center of that union. That's who you're supposed to be, and you resurrect yourself into that. That's how you're supposed to live. And that is what happens in harmonious twin flame union. That's when you start to resurrect yourself. In the form that you are meant to be in union, in the content that you're meant to portray in union, that starts to come into being and come forward and be visible and audible. And that is a resurrection of the true you that protects you completely against any such cultures coming from the outside, because it's just like you're immune for it. Of course, when you keep on choosing harmonious twin flame union, keep on going forward and establish it more and more, resurrect yourself more and more. Your immunity to such rape cultures starts to only grow and augment and augment and augment. You become, as it were, like this little bubble universe that is the actual divine reality. So it's not a bubble in the sense of an illusion, it's a bubble in the sense of you become immune towards places where there is this onslaught of not harmonious union culture or rape culture or social culture that is not of divine romance, right? Which is all of that is like unhealthy. So you become more and more this like egg form in so I'm like visualizing that right now, in which you're really like immune and you're impenetrable by such outside influences. And you live that as union with your true twin flame. And that's how you were actually always supposed to live, and that's how you were created by the divine to live like that. And it's actually like this supernatural sort of that is, because it's connected to the divine, is actually the natural, the normal natural that you are supposed to naturally live. Couldn't be more normal, you know. It is like supernatural, and it can feel very new when you're starting to experience that. But at the end of the day, the longer and the more you're in it and you experience it and whatnot, it's just, it will be revealed to be your normal, your new normal. Yeah, it's going to be your new normal. It's actually going to be very normal, very daily life, every day. It's just how it is. And then you will be like, yeah, what was this thing like long ago? Like I can't remember, but I mostly can't remember because I'm purified. Not per se that it was actually literally long ago, because you could do that in like 3 years, is what I would roughly say at this moment, is what I advise at this moment, to do this development. Certainly possible when I look at myself and all the other experiences that I had around me and that I saw. So it doesn't necessarily need to be a long time ago, actually, but it will feel like a long time ago because you're just living in this completely different atmosphere now. And it's just like, what was that again? Like, something was bothering me once, but it's not here anymore. And my memory and my mind and my emotions and my heart and my brain and my nervous system have been cleansed from all of that. That's what happens there. And you're like, that's far away. That's very far away. Okay. So we're getting another deck. And it's going to be the Egyptian deck. So let's see. Divine Mother, pick a card for us and show us which one it is going to need to be. Oh, well, that's kind of clear. Shadow. Characteristics and behaviors that we suppress. Think about what kind of behavior you have learned to suppress and why. You see now who or what triggers you, and through that you will experience freedom. Idea for an exercise: research what characteristic you don't like in someone else and see if you have it yourself as well. That is more or less included, that is included, not more or less, in the key exercise. That is the inner work tool for twin flames. We have 2 versions, 4 steps per version, and actually 3 versions, because the third one is a trauma healing version that you can only experience at this moment for when you're in a deeper relationship one-on-one with me and the situation calls for it. So, and I will guide you through that. All right. And that is important for the complete resolution of rape culture. As it happens with anything that you want to let go of, to live in a direct relationship with divine love and the beautiful security that gives more and more, then you need to go through the key tool. And one of the things it means is that you'll see your shadow, and that you need to research if it was actually you yourself that did these things. And that's true for rape culture too. I'm sorry that may sound kind of challenging, but it is true. I've gone through that research myself as well, and I did go over other people's boundaries. I did sexually stalk, harass in that kind of direction people. And that is how you cleanse yourself, by seeing that and repairing it there inside of yourself. And that is what the key exercise will teach you. And that is where you purify it, so that you won't see it in the world anymore, won't see it in other people anymore, won't meet it in society and social situations anymore, because you've removed it outside of yourself. And that is so true, and that is the complete resolution that it is 100% about. That's what I've gone through. That's what I did. That's the ultimate solution. It's a consciousness thing. If you resolve it in yourself, you will not meet it anymore in the outside world. So the solution is meet rape culture in yourself and purify yourself where you find it in you. For sure, I did these things because that's how I was treated as a child. So you act that out on the other end. That's how normal things always go. But when they're healthy behaviors, there's nothing going on. But when they're not, what comes out is not. It can be borderline criminal what comes out. Which it was, because that's what was done to me. Right? So it has to be removed outside of you, nevertheless. So in the process of the purification that we talk about, that will happen on the journey towards your harmonious twin flame union, and inside of it will continue. It will, okay, this will happen. It's not even a choice. Well, it is a choice to start to do all of this, right? To go for it completely. And if you say, I go for it completely, then do that. And what will happen there is you will start to purify yourself in this exact way. And it will bring you on a roll and continue like that inside harmonious union. That's what will happen there. It's not a question if, it is what happens there. And that's how you change the world. That's how you transform the world away from rape culture, because you removed it outside of yourself. out of you removed it out of yourself. It's not present anymore inside of yourself. And the yourself is your union. So you've removed it out of your union. So you will also not need to be afraid anymore that you will be sexually harassed or raped inside your union by your twin flame when you have removed it from yourself. That is your union, yourself, your contribution to it, your part in it. That is what it is about. And then that purified harmonious twin flame union is a contribution to the world as a new part of society where that doesn't exist anymore. And then you will, as mission, spread harmonious union, and other people can also go through this process and through this purification. And we're on our way towards a whole society where there's no rape culture anymore because you've removed it outside of yourself. Through the twin flame inner work, on your way towards harmonious twin flame union and beyond. And that's how it's going to go. Let's get a spiritual message card. You can't push the river. Well, that's interesting. So it is, harmonious union is a love flow that is already flowing through your heart. And you just, what you do to get into your harmonious twin flame union is you submit yourself to that love flow that is already present in your heart. And that's what the key exercise does. And that flow is not able to be manipulated. You can't push it. And that's fortunate because that is the love flow that is always here, that is part of the divine, just like you in your union are part of the divine. It's not being able to be manipulated. It's always pure. It's always divine. So that means that there is never rape culture there. And that's why harmonious twin flame union is the solution for rape culture. Amen. Beautiful. So, wow, that was beautiful. That feels complete to me. Yeah, I hope that helped. And I hope to see you real soon in my next video. Love from Petra. Hey friends, we're going to do a research today with oracle cards, and that is going to be about the end of childism. Is harmonious twin flame union the consciousness state that you want to have as foundation to really build your twin flame union relationship with your mission and your family and everything that you want in it? Is harmonious twin flame union that foundation going to be the end of childism? And what is childism? Well, that is that we as a society, as a social group, parents, but also more general, do as if children are not human beings. They're like a sort of lower class human being or something. They are like not really real. They are not to be taken seriously as a human being that has an autonomous personhood. They are, maybe there are like subjects of being needing to be disciplined, or they are extensions of what I want you to do for me, or other narcissistic ideas about children, that they should serve you, that they should do what you say, that you should control them, that they should be controlled, controllable, that it doesn't matter what you say to them or what you do to them or how you harm them, how you communicate with them, because they're second-rate citizens anyway. So, and they'll also forget whatever you do to them, which is all, of course, not true. It's completely nonsense. But there are lots of people that deal like that with their children. And that is some sort of narcissistic until deeply narcissistic, like a mental health condition that has actually progressed into a psychiatric disorder. But it's also more general in our culture that this is very much happening. And some might say, well, certain generations, sure, but it also doesn't matter what generation. What matters is that childism is, of course, a nonsense. It's abominable. It's awful. You don't do that. Children are human beings. Children are just like you and me, just a little bit smaller, which should invite you to have more of a consideration for them instead of less. They are the grown-ups of the future, which should give you reason to think twice about what you're doing to children. If you are treating them like second-hand citizens that need to sit on another table than you, that are not worthy of full, nutritious food and should do with, I don't know, like less desirable variants of what adults are eating, and other humiliating, strange practices that our societies are rife with when you would see it. That doesn't allow children to express their emotions, for instance, when they are treated like second-hand citizens that are not allowed to eat nutritious food or sit on the table or whatnot, some sort of a very subtle, almost can't discern, humiliating way, and they would feel angry about that. Then, of course, that emotion is a problem, but not how we treat them, right? So, and their display of emotions in general, of course, should be stopped, because that's not allowed for children. But grown-ups are allowed, to scream and shout, especially at children, for stopping their emotions. So this is all deeply hypocritical, but this is how large portions of social society works. And a lot of it could be placed under the umbrella of childism, doing as if a child is not an autonomous human being that asks for respect, because it is the vehicle of a beautiful divine soul and part of their own twin flame union as well, just like you are. This is a problem, childism. I have heard that maybe this word is sometimes applied to the solution, the word childism, okay, but nevertheless, this is how I wanted to introduce childism to you today. I have certainly undergone the humiliation. It was very narcissistic when I was a child. And I have also, specifically in when I was resolving this matter during my harmonious union healing process, after harmonious union, I came into this enormous wave of healing that sort of went over me or something that I underwent. And one of them was to heal the having been humiliated as a child. And in that period of deeply healing that, which was a very painful period, I also saw around me, like in a supermarket or outside on the street, just really in my street here, or from my window, this window, when I looked outside, there it was. Parents humiliating their children, doing as if their children were not human beings, but less than. Of course, we all know that children are still growing and learning, and they need our help with that. That's the whole point of the difference between adults and children. But that doesn't make them less, and that's the difference that I try to point out. It's like a circle that keeps on going in multi-generational trauma, passing on generation after generation. Because when you have been humiliated as a child, you feel good that you're now grown up and can feel strong and powerful. And you feel like you may want to act that out with your own children again for the next generation, because now you can finally be the powerful one instead of the powerless one. And that's how it is passed on and on and on and on and on. Now, you can call this many things, but I wanted to address it today with the word childism. And we're going to see what the oracle cards that I have selected here are going to say about this phenomenon, what it means, how harmonious union can help it stop forever after. So let's see. Yeah, I think we should just start, right? Okay, we're just going to start here, because Divine Mother guides my glance and shows me the cards that I'm going to start with. And these are the, what are they called? This is the Oracle of the Roses. Well, show me, Divine Mother. Blueprint of the seeds. The blueprint is inside of you. Make the next step. Well, and isn't this like a fetus in the womb? The seed is growing. But it is like the image is like a grown up as a fetus in the womb that is the earth. In other words, we're all children. Everyone is a child. We're all children of Divine Mother. Everyone has their child that they once were, physically and emotionally, still living inside of them. We all have been a child, and now we're just a bigger child that is more able to live on its own, more autonomous. But we were actually already an autonomous being, an autonomous soul, living in their own right under the relationship with their God. Right? And we all have the blueprint of being a twin flame inside of us, longing for the reparation of our union. And that is also worthy of respect for anyone, grown up, child of any age, doesn't matter. It's an ageless phenomenon. You can always attract your true twin flame if you desire that and you tune into that and you purify yourself. That can also be as a child, because the child feels the heart calling and says yes to it and attracts their twin flame to them. That's what happens. all the time. I mean, I did that too. I was 12 for like 3 months, and then I met my true twin flame. So I must have attracted that. I must have wanted that. I must have felt it in my heart and said somehow yes to it. We all have it inside of us. It doesn't matter what age we are. And that's a beautiful entrance to starting to respect children of any age. It's also true that on the twin flame journey, by doing the twin flame inner work that you want to do to purify yourself so that you can come in harmonious twin flame union, and also so that you come into your union in the best possible shape, spiritually, emotionally speaking, so that you have the least chance, of course, of all kinds of problems that you might face. So on your way there, you will see that you will start to do inside of the advice twin flame inner work, inner child healing. Everyone does that there. That is what is inside of the key inner work tool for twin flames. There is inner child healing there as well. Many things are comprised, anyway, that tool. And inner child work is in there too. You will start to acknowledge the beautiful, tender little one that is still alive inside of you, and you will learn to embrace her and to love her and to take her on your lap, to just be so cozy with her. You will start to do that. You will. And you will start to have respect for her, or him, of course. And that is the whole point of twin flame inner work. And you will start to grow up from that experience so that you become more and more matured in the whole process. And you do that together with your inner child. You will absolutely experience that. And that is one of the ways you can reach harmonious twin flame union. So the child always plays a role in your union. There, of course, might also be children born from your union. What about that? Many of you long for that. That's also normal, very much possible. In very many ways, right? Maybe you feel called to have a biological child. Maybe you feel called to adopt a child. Maybe there are already children from your side and their side, and you introduce them into your unit lovingly. And you can pass on what that relationship of union really is, and the sacredness of it, and the door of divine love inside of you that it is, and then pass on through that door towards your children that divine love, so that they can drink from it too, which will heal them too. So harmonious union is a beautiful thing for inner children and actual children of any age. And yeah, to come back there, at the end of the day, you are a child of the divine. And that is also a beautiful way to get into the true twin flame healed state that you want to go to realize that, not only know that, but more like remember that and embody it, that you are a child of the divine that has created you. And you were created together with your twin flame as a unit in your union. And you remember that state. And then it comes into your life as a materialization of that. That's what we all desire, and that's what it's really about, and it's really possible. And what makes it a lot more possible is like including the child, in all ways that you feel that it is applicable to you. Yeah, okay. Well, okay then. I saw the golden tarot, so let's do that. Okay. Yeah, this one showed itself, and it is the Eight of Swords, but then reversed. And we see this woman that is surrounded by 8 swords put in the ground, and she is blindfolded. And it's almost as if she is also one of the swords. The swords are her grievings, her griefs, her worries, her mental distress, thoughts. Maybe she talks to herself in a unkind way as well. And the point is that she feels trapped there, but she can actually take the blindfold off, can she? Yeah, she's also bound by this piece of rope, but that's also not much, you know. Take the rope off, take the blindfold off, and she can also walk away from those awful thoughts, especially when it's presented in reverse. That means that you now understood that you can walk away from these awful self-flagellating thoughts that you're having. And you don't need to stay there. And you got that. You can walk away now. And you will walk away. You don't need to keep on hurting yourself. Even when you've been hurt as a child, you can now stop hurting yourself as a grown-up. Which is very difficult because we internalize this sound, the voice of the parent in our own head, and it becomes our super ego that will now talk down to ourselves when you would, for instance, have been talked down to by your parent as a child. And now you're talking down to yourself, in your head, to yourself, mentally. And that is how it has just been completely ingrained into you, and that's like this internal nasty voice that you might be hearing all day every day over decades of your adult life. But it is possible to stop that and to walk away there. I have experienced that myself through the key exercise, which is the twin flame inner work. Going to harmonious union, the consciousness state, and then beyond it as well, where for me a whole load of healing happened with the after harmonious union healing wave, how I call it now, which you will probably experience as well when you're there. That's where I was also able to repair this inner superego that was berating myself, because I have been berated my entire childhood. So that was how this superego was programmed to behave, which is beyond awful, of course. I was pushed around my entire childhood. So the only way for myself to become active as an adult was to push myself around, which is like a self-sabotaging, awful way to deal with yourself, right? So I would also like resist the pushing myself around. So this is one big inner conflict, of course, which was created by having been raised by childish influences, right? But later in my harmonious union healing journey, this started to repair itself, and all the awful things that I've ever heard that were, as it appeared, stored in my heart. I didn't know that it worked like that, but that's how it was released. So that's how the reality was stored in my heart, and it was released to rise to my brain. So I heard all the messages that I had been collecting as a child. Now consciously, it was playing out in my mind one last time to be let go of and never return. And that was happening in like months, a couple of months time. Well, a lot of months actually, because there was a lot. And then it stopped. And that is also like a general thing that you will experience in harmonious union key healing work, that you will experience a revisiting of these kinds of things, and then it will be done in such a way that then it will be let go of to never return. That's like your last walk through this nasty landscape. And now you can consciously see it and heal it. It's like you already start to walk away, but now you're aware of the swords that are sticking in the ground around you. And then it's done. And your inner child is freed. Okay, I see the energy point cards. I work with a 9-point energy system that Divine Mother developed together with me. They are in and around your body and also in the world. And we're going to see which energy point we're going to focus on for the Childism resolution. 5A, so that is going to be the 2 intersecting circles, and that is corresponding to the upper back between the shoulder blades, where your divine nourishment anchors into your energy system, where your body lives inside of. And that is like a protective mother that comes to you to embrace you from behind and like feed you, nourish you in the heart, but from the sort of impersonal point of entrance, which is from behind, which is where like God is supporting you from behind and nourishing you there, and like literally supporting you, right? Who stands behind you? Divine Mother. So yeah, that's what you can start to relax. That's an energy point you can start to relax and open when you are going through this inner child healing. And so that you can let the influence of Divine Mother into your cells and into your energy body, and embrace of that, and yeah, like the opening towards the divine nourishment will start to flow in, as if that's like where your navel is from your with the umbilical cord, from your relationship with the bigger whole of the Divine Mother, right? And it starts to flow in there, and you'll become nourished. So if you can relax that place, if you can feel the sensitive energy that is in and around there, if you can feel that physical place and what it asks of you and what it says to you, and then that starts to become more accessible for you, and then it can also start to become more fed and nourished and warm and embraced and relaxed for that reason as well. And then that influence can start to integrate in the rest of what you are as well. So you'll be able to recognize that you are a child of any age and of every age right now. And you are a child of the divine. And that is just your sacred destiny as well, because that is what you will feel when you will grow in harmonious twin flame union, the consciousness state. You will feel that you start to grow there and mature and ripen in in the heart, in what you are as a child of the divine. And that's really an entrance for getting the right attitude, for getting your twin flame next to you there as well, so that you're together in that being nourished. Because now the relationship is what you are, and the relationship is being nourished. And you let that in, you let that fact in. And that's where it's really at, people. Oh boy. Yeah, that's where it starts to truly heal. In being the divine child yourself. All the time. So beautiful, actually. So beautiful. Just so beautiful. And now we're going to look inside the divine qualities of that with this card deck. It is about divine abundance, made by Tosha Silver. So, Divine Mother, show me a card that wants to come out. Self-love. Look at the child with the parent. Let the wall fall that separates me from my own vulnerable inner child. I long to take care of myself like never before. Well, we couldn't have gotten a more appropriate card, of course. And this is how you'll feel. This is the you is both of you. Both of these, that's you. And you also know that your twin flame also is both of you. Both of those. And then both of you, you and your twin flame, are also like this with the divine. And then you and your twin flame are actually one unit. And you realize that. And then you realize that you're actually the union and the divine parent. And that it is like that. And that's when things start to harmonize, and that's when things start to manifest, and that's when things start to become truly loving, and that's when things start to become truly permanent as well. Okay, so now we're going to look in the life purpose deck. Well, this one, moved, school. You start to realize that life in union is a school. And being always a child, a divine child, is a school. For the love of the soul. And that's beautiful. And the openness to learn from the angels, for instance. Today it is Angel Day, by the way. It's Angel Day. Guardian Angel Day. Did you know that? But this is when this is taped. So that is going to be Wednesday, October 2nd, 2024. And when it is published, this is already past. I realize that now. But anyway, the angels. When you can have the mentality that you are going to be continually learning as the child student of God itself, that is a helpful attitude to carry you through your inner work towards harmonious twin flame union and through the beingness of harmonious twin flame union. Really helpful because you have the right attitude for what is going to happen there. and for peaceful resolutions. Because you're now open to learn something that you didn't know yet, which a child always has. It always has this openness to learn something new. And a lot of the crux of twin flame work to make you experience the romance with a true twin flame as quickly as possible is to become open again to learning and to step away from your preconceived notions, from thinking that you know it already, how it works and how it is done, what the inner work should be, who it is, because you know already everything, right? And there is a better attitude that will be so helpful, through which you will reach your harmonious union with the true twin flame so incredibly much quicker, and that is open yourself, forget your preconceived notions, be curious for what the true twin flame inner work might bring you, and open yourself to learn new things and new facts about yourself and about the journey. Yeah, learn about your unconscious inner stirrings that you weren't aware of, that you can purify. Be curious what will happen when you purify more and more. Be grateful for it as well, for these lessons. That's an attitude that will vroom, take you on the highway to your true twin flame and harmonious union real quick. And now we have the personal messages cards. Instead of putting the blame on someone else, I am willing to feel the pain of my loss. And isn't that exactly what we were talking about becoming open to learn? And that is the highway towards your union. And learning means that you don't put the blame on the twin flame or about me, for instance, or about anyone else, but only on yourself. And that's where you research what's truly going on, and you open yourself for falling through that whole idea that you were blaming anyone, even yourself, and then arriving in the inner peace that it's all about. Awesome. Really beautiful. And now we get a vampire card. Oh, let's take this. Supernatural. Supernatural. Not being able to be explained. Inexplicable. That's the word. I'm just translating the words here. Yeah, that's like more words of this that mean the same. Okay. It's like this supernatural resolution. It's just like fish with wings of butterflies will move through the air. That's really supernatural on the picture. The supernatural resolution will be that you will come in harmonious union with the inner child intact and open and able to learn. And that is how the divine can send through you and to you and through you the divine love that manifests union and maintains it. It's like the supernatural solution comes through that opening. And you will stop partaking in childism because you feel the value of being a child, which is, by the way, a very beautiful child here that is like fantasizing about this beautiful, it's like, like a child's fantasy, but it's actually supernatural and true as well. It's like in the picture. So through you, there will be no childism anymore because you respect deeply the value of your inner child because you got your union through it. And childism will stop with you. No more next generations where you look down on children because you now intrinsically have felt the value of what that is. And then that becomes unstoppable because your union will have as mission to other people, to enlighten other people about harmonious union as well. And then they will do it for themselves as well and come into their union too. And that will form new social circles, which forms new societies where childism is not passed on anymore. And that's how it will go. And that is the supernatural solution for what started as a seemingly psychological problem that is more like a plague rushing through all layers of society and all places in the world. But that is a supernatural solution, and you can partake in that by going completely all in your harmonious union journey. And that feels pretty complete to me. Love that. I hope it was helpful, and I will see you in my next video. Love from Petra. Hi friends, welcome to my video in which I will do, together with you as it were, a reading. It's always about twin flame union, but I will take a specific topic and try to research it. And that will be poverty consciousness. I was for a moment like, what was it again? Poverty consciousness. What is it and how does it play a role in harmonious union for twin flames? And how does maybe harmonious twin flame union as the foundational consciousness for twin flames that you really need and poverty consciousness? How does it work on it so that it will become healed, different? Poverty consciousness, the idea that we have a mindset, often unconsciously, in which we think like, oh, we don't have it. We don't have money. It's not enough. We're just like sad as a foundational mood that is underneath everything that you do, that you don't deserve it. You don't deserve to have more. You don't deserve the money. And you feel like you don't have it. And you need to keep it there too. It's maybe coming in your life together with a lack of money that you experience comparatively to other people, or like the general economic atmosphere or something in your culture. Possibly. But think about it. Not necessarily. Because aren't you surviving already right now, nevertheless, whatever it is that you might be suffering from this point, at this point? You're actually still here. You're watching this video. You're having a good time with it. So actually, you're doing very well. Very many people in Western culture have running water. They only need to do this, and then the faucet is running with even warm water. It's incredible. It's really incredible. It's of an enormous luxury. It's just so luxurious and abundant, literally overflowing in this example as well. So it really depends on how you look at things. And what about this? People that have, relatively speaking, lots of money, they're really rich, relatively speaking, in your society, in your culture, in Western culture. Elon Musk, billionaire, okay. But maybe he's very depressed in his personal life. He's certainly not with his true twin flame. So, and absolutely not in a harmonious union, which is what everyone actually wants when they talk about twin flames. But most everyone does not have yet. That's the consciousness that is more available right now to come into. And I would strongly advise for you to go there first. That's how you know that it's your true twin flame and that it will be enjoyable and really the joy that it's supposed to be about, etc. So it will also open the door to your abundance. So there is the abundance thing in itself, right? Twin flames open your true abundance. But if you're Elon Musk and you're a billionaire and you're thinking about going to Mars all day long and whatnot, and you're twittering every day, but maybe you're deeply depressed, you're not with your twin flame, you're not in harmonious union. You don't experience life how you're supposed to be when you look at how you are created in divine light. So you can't be truly happy. That's just a fact. And you can have so much money, but you're actually very poor like that, right? So these are the things that can happen when you look at, like, what are we actually talking about, you know? But the topic is poverty consciousness. And that's where everything starts. Just like we can talk about twin flames as physical couple trying to find themselves and form a couple and whatnot and stay together. But the core of what that is about is consciousness. They're one consciousness. And when they go to the harmonious union consciousness, then they will have it in the flesh also. That's guaranteed. When you keep on developing that, maintain it, and keep on going in that direction. Keep on doing everything that is asking you to do there. Well, and that's the same for the money, for the abundance. It starts with consciousness. That's where you actually need to go. Just like for twin flames, you need to go to the consciousness, and then it becomes repaired, right? Then you know it's your true twin flame in harmonious union, in the joy, and it opens up your abundance. For the money, that's the same. You need to go to the consciousness. So we need to look at the poverty consciousness when you have that in your abundance place. You have a consciousness there, okay, but it's a poverty consciousness. Instead of, like abundance consciousness. Maybe that's a word for now. So that's where we need to look at. That's the basis, how is that consciousness programmed there? What is it tuned into? What is it aligning with? Is it aligning with the divine? abundance that is always here, completely and utterly, and giving you more and more and more and more, always more and more. Are you connected there? Or are you connected to, oh, I'm actually having a house, running water. I can sit here every day. I have food. My gosh, I am so abundant. I have time and space to do the true twin flame work so that I can have everything inside of union. That's where you're supposed to live, so that you know. That's where everything is. Or do you think I'm so poor? I don't have anything. I have no opportunities. I don't know how to get more money, how to make more money. I don't know how to do that. I'm too lazy to learn that. I don't know, Poverty consciousness. I feel outside of the riches. I feel outside of being lucky. Poverty consciousness. I don't want to look into how I spend the money I do have. I try to avoid that topic. I don't want to invest. Poverty consciousness. So that's where we need to look at poverty consciousness, right? And yeah, I think we're going to start somewhere here with my oracle card decks that I selected. And when I glance over it together with Divine Mother, I know where to start. And then we just, ask Divine Mother. This was jumping, so we'll take that card. We know what to talk about to resolve this issue once and for all, right? It is the Frog Princess. This is a Dutch deck. This is the Oracle of Change. It just refers to all kinds of stories. Listen to wise counsel. Listen. Right. This is a story. This is a card that really almost exclusively points you to, this is a time in which you need to listen. A time in which you need to be influenced by what is being said to you. And of course, it sounds, always the best to listen to what the divine tells you directly, if you can hear that. If you can't, sit still for a moment and open yourself for it with your intention in your heart and see what happens. But listening to what God says also includes what creation, what the universe, what the world, what people say to you as well. What someone that speaks to you says to you. Because the divine also speaks through other people to you. The divine also speaks through phenomenon in the universe to you. And this is a time for you to listen. So maybe that's, how we resolve our abundance problem. Because we want to be abundant together with our twin flame, to enjoy the luxury of a good house and good food and going out for date nights and without feeling constrained by financial strictness that is necessary to survive. And we want to go to the twin flame in harmonious union in the first place. So we need to invest in our time and our money and in the right stuff that helps us to go there immediately, directly, now, instead of 2 lifetimes ahead, right? Because you want that now, that romance. So how to do that? How to get there? Listen. This is a time to listen and open yourself, open your senses to be guided by Divine Mother, to where your opportunities are, where your abundance already is, how you can deal with it, to get it all, essentially, in a rightly ordered way for uniquely you. To be guided by the divine through this whole question. Like, so there is like my goal. I want to be prosperous together with my twin flame in harmonious union consciousness state, so that we can have this romance in which we have money to spend on our family, on our home, on our date nights, etc. And I want to have a way to get there from here to there. I want to have an abundant way to go from here to there. I want to have the means to pay for coaching. I want to have the means to have some free time for myself. I want to have the means to, with that free time, do my twin flame inner work. I want to have the means to invest in twin flame schooling, etc., so that I make sure that I arrive there. And then I want to have the means to be prosperous there together with them, and let more and more of our soul abundance flow to us, also in the form of money, so that we can have a prosperous life. And you're going to listen to Divine Mother, or to the divine itself, for what are the steps that you need to take to really in the now, like step by step, listen again by step, listen again by step. Like, keep on listening. What are you guided to do? Are you guided to go out and get an extra job? Are you guided to enjoy what you already have and look at it in a really different way than you ever did before? Or what is it that you feel guided to? So, or whatever it is that's being said through the universe to you. It's like, are you listening? Are you listening? So I think we're getting a message from the personal messages deck to learn more, maybe about what is the message, what we need to listen to, or something. Oh, this one. You already know the answer. You only need to let it in. It's a Dutch language. I translated that. So that's the listening as well. You already know it. You already know what it is. How to transform your poverty consciousness. You just need to listen, as they say. You need to let it in. You need to let it influence you. You need to maybe like actually do it. Like actually do what it says. All right, now we go to the Native American cards. I'm seeing this card. Ah, yeah. What was this one? The Great Spirit, I think. Let me have a look. The Great Spirit, Vakantanka, miracle. Ah, here's a miracle. Yeah, for poverty consciousness, you just invite the miracle. Oh, is that it? That's it. You just invite the miracle. So you need to connect with your source, with God. You need to really clearly listen. And then you invite the miracle. Vakantanka is the Great Spirit of the Lakota, the intense and dangerous power of the great mystery, the subtle energy that permeates all beings. Every part of the cosmos, the sun, the moon, sky, earth, wind, animals, plants, and humans, has its own spirit, but Vakantanka is the subtle energy in everything, the energy that makes everything alive. Vakan is sacred and part of all things, but not in equal measure or at all times. Some have more, some use it freely, some hold it tight. The eagle is the symbol of the Great Spirit which watches over the world. Eagle is the only creature able to fly from the visible to the invisible worlds and leads, initiates through the mysteries of life and death and beyond. You have access to power and wisdom beyond human understanding. Ask, wait, and listen. Miracle, divine will, faith, earthly manifestations of the sacred, messages, answers. Yeah, so it's really about there is a connection that wants to be made through you, through your being conscious of it. And the connection is, on the one side, the energy that runs through you and the plants and animals and all the rest of the universe. There's a universal life force energy. And on the other side, it is the invisible world, the influence of Source itself that can connect with your energy. And when that connection is made, you feel your energy and you connect your energy with the great source of energy that is the divine itself. That connection, that is where it's at. That produces the miracle. That gives the manifestation of the true value in life, in the flesh, in the world, in the manifestations, in the physical. But you need to let them meet. You need to be open to let that happen. You need to listen to let that happen. It's a very subtle thing that is very real. And that is where your true abundance consciousness is created. That will create in your world what you need and want and desire and what feels meaningful in your life and nutritious and loving and connecting. The earthly manifestations of the sacred. For sure, your twin flame union is that. It is an earthly manifestation of the sacred. It's the most sacred of the sacred that you can even imagine, because you are created as such, as a child of the divine in your union. Your union is that child of the divine. That is like it's a child of the divine. So it looks like the divine. It has everything that the divine has inside of itself, inside of the union. That's deeply valuable. It's the most valuable thing ever. And then it comes into the world and you start to live that in the flesh as a relationship, as a romance, as life partners, as mission partners, as a family. And that is the sacred manifest. And the twin flame is about that. But the abundance consciousness that actually belongs to it is also like that. And it's another aspect of the same. That's what it is. It's another aspect of the same thing. It also comes from the divine itself. It is the value that you will experience in your union that is brought into the world as well. And because we are human beings, we express that value often in money numbers, because that's how we conceived of how to deal with life in that regard as human cultures. But it is a manifestation of that sacred abundance. That's where you end up. That's the whole point. That's where you're going. That's what you desire. And your whole money life transforms into that sacred manifestation of abundance. And your whole attitude about money transforms to that as well. Just like your whole attitude about love transforms into living in union attitude, which is a significant difference. Otherwise, you would already live in union with your true twin flame. It's the same for the money, or the abundance, or the means, or the value, or the energy, because energy is money. Your attitude will shift significantly when you go to your union. Your union consciousness will have a completely different idea of the abundance consciousness as well, as an aspect of it. And that will be significantly different than where you came from the poverty consciousness. And it must be resolved through making come true your harmonious union. And beyond that process it's like it will change it for you. It's not really a question. When you keep at it and are with the teacher and the right community and whatnot, right? So, okay. Now we're going to look into the angels of abundance. Divine Mother wants us to have this card because it was sticking out. Release resentments about money, with a very sweet angel. Yes, the money system of the world can seem upsetting, but holding resentments about finances just pushes your abundance away. Instead, see money as a tool you can use to better the world. And this shift will help you attract support and golden opportunities. Very nice. Well, that has everything to do with that mentality shift that will happen between where you're now and being in union consciousness, where you will find also your abundance consciousness. And now we go to some more angels because that seems to be fitting. Communicate clearly. All right, so the first thing about this communication we had already been talking about, because that was listening. Listen to the divine. What other is telling you. And then you reinstate a communication with the divine by simply listening already. That's where it starts. And when you've fully received, you can also start to answer. All right. I'm now guided to my own card deck that I have recently renamed. I'm going to rework it out. And now it is called, very fittingly, naturally, the Manifest Union and Mission cards. Manifest Union and Mission cards. I see one. Okay, here it is. To pull out essential innovation without frills. It's like an eye, but also like two overlapping circles. Coach Innovator Y D 1.3. So let's look in the booklet. I will read what it says. The source of value. Weren't we just talking about that? All progress on the path towards union consciousness comes from the inner eye of perception, inner eye, and is rooted in truth. Things are not always as they seem. You may have already sorted that out from life experiences. The one that on paper looked like the ideal spouse in truth came out to be a liar and then unmasked himself as a false twin flame. The one that seemingly showed you only socially wrong moves for many years came out to be the one and only true twin flame. For example, this is but an example. There it is. Okay, I just thought I'll add that in, but it wasn't the text. We all know situations in which someone acts nice, but playing your friend came out to be for their own gain, and a real friendship that is not. Or we know someone that is neatly married and does everything how it is societally prescribed, only to live in truth of the soul as a person that uses the spouse to pay for her life necessities in a way that is legally sound and give her everything she desires beside that one too. These are again just examples. Not everything is what it seems, and you come to a truthful viewpoint by activating your truth roots below and your inner eye above. The activation can be done energetically on the backside of your body where the heart is. So think your upper back and relax that area. This will bring forward the soft eternal truth that will be disclosed for you. That's where you're nourished by the divine. Living along the lines of this truth makes it so that you create the biggest effect in the sustainability of the soul. You are the most happy and stimulate the people around you to become that too, even when it seemingly goes against their grain. You connect with the innovative power that connects to the soft yet firm energetic truth of the spiritual heart, which is at the upper back, place where you can relax so that the spiritual heart can show itself more to you. This is sometimes seemingly going against social rules. You are able to follow this line of value until the true source of your value surfaces, that you can endlessly share from with others. Yes, because it is the true source of everything. And that source of value is profound and never ending. And you can let it flow through you. And to make that happen, you can relax the upper back area. Because that's where that co-creation starts. Being nourished in the first place, and maybe then at a certain time also communicate back. Because listening is also being nourished by God or Divine Mother. And that is the essential innovation without frills that you want. All right. That was the source of value. Now we're going to get a Oracle of the Roses card. Open, say yes. Develop through the extremes. Trust, life. Open, say yes. Say yes to your deeper value, which is the deeper value of being in harmonious twin flame union. It will also connect you to the abundance consciousness. trust that. And trust that you can already reach that by saying yes to it right now. And it can already start to come into your life right now, exactly how you need it. Love that. And that feels complete to me, so I hope this helped. And I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. And I will see you real soon again. Love from Petra. Friends, I have such an interesting research that I want to do with you in this video with my oracle cards. And it's going to be about malnourishment in Western society people. 4 twin flames on the twin flame journey. How about that? Like going towards harmonious twin flame union, the consciousness state. You would want to, I wanted to, and beyond it also, I wanted to feel nourished. I wanted to have a way to deal with my body and food that would feel healing and totally integrated in this lifestyle of doing inner work to make the true twin flame come true in your actual daily life. I had always had this inclination that I desired that I can remember from my early 20s. That's like 20 years ago when I started to get going in the twin flame journey, but I actually wanted to say my spiritual journey with going to my spiritual teacher for the first time and doing everything there and stuff. And yeah, I really became aware that I wanted to have a way to take care of my body, or like, aren't there things that are so supportive that you can give your body, that you feel good, that you take care of yourself, support yourself through food or nourishment or taking care of the body in some sort of way that would feel complete and embracing in doing this journey, in doing this inner work, that it would feel so loving to take care of yourself in that way while you do inner work, which can be rather confrontational but also peaceful, creating more peace through that. And over time, I found that because it didn't exist, I tested out a whole lot of things. And now we have that in the Genesis 1 plan that I will also share in one of the months in the Twin Flame year group course that is going to come up real soon, that I open that. And it will be one of the monthly themes that we also see can work with. But yeah, today I want to talk about malnourishment for actually like you and me, like Western society kind of people mostly, that desire that want to not feel malnourished, but feel supported and full and filled and having all your vitamins filled up all the time and whatnot. And feel supported on that level on the Twin Flame journey. And yeah, have harmonious Twin Flame union be the end of malnourishment. And how does that work? Is it even possible? I know I already told you that I invented how to do that and I did it on myself, but nevertheless, we're sort of going to ask the question, is it possible? What is that, Divine Mother? Can you help us with the oracle cards that I selected to learn more about what that is about? Because isn't it interesting, this given, as far as I'm concerned, that we are malnourished, although we live in societies mostly in which, food is not so difficult. You just go to the store, and the store is often pretty close by, and you have lots of convenient options that are not overly expensive, and you just buy them, you bring them home, and you eat, right? So what's the point? Well, there is a lot of points. And well, one of them, for instance, is how I experienced my childhood, but maybe you have your version of this example. How I experienced my childhood is with a lot of narcissistic abuse. And that is a going over your boundaries. It's an invasion of your psychological boundaries by the parent that wants to use you for their needs. Is one of the ways in which that expresses. And what happens is that you create from, because you're a child, so it's like developmentally you grow into it, and you start to think this is the norm, because that's what happens with children that grow up in a certain environment. They start to think that's the norm because that's all they know. That's why raising is a thing, right? But if it goes upside down, then abuse is also an actual thing that is very real. And because it is characterized by going over your boundaries, this translates on all levels in your being, on all levels in your body and energy and soul and spirit and everything. And one of the levels it translates into is that your immune system becomes weak, because that's also like not a wall anymore, but that boundary is broken through. Same thing on another level, broken boundaries. So you might develop all kinds of symptoms from a weakened body. And one of them is also that you're going to experience like a weak health of your gut and your gut bacteria. That was for me, for instance, very much the case. And I don't want this to be a video in which I completely explain all of this, but just to give a little bit of an overview of what this can mean, right? And your gut health is, of course, very important for your mental health, your emotional health, your brain health, everything. And it is also the place, of course, where you're taking this, like extracting, that's the way, extracting the nourishment from your food. And when that's like going wrong because of the weakened gut health, you also don't really take advantage of your food, even though it is there. In my case, also, there was not real great food, which was part of the narcissistic abuse, that there was not enough food, but not at all because there wasn't money. There was money enough, but because of priorities and control. They needed to control you through food, and there are all kinds of strategies that you can do so that you control people through food. And one of them is feed them not enough, for instance. And that was, of course, all very subtle because, plausible deniability. That's, of course, a huge thing, of course, also of narcissistic structures. And there you go. So, in general, besides my examples that you may benefit from and look at your case, there's also, of course, the broader stroke of that. The quality of our supermarket food has diminished intensely since supermarkets came into being, in fact, in early 1900s. The quality started to go down and down and down. And the last decennia, that has, of course, escalated pretty much into so many what I just already called convenience foods that are stripped of their natural integrity, that our body recognizes as real food. And it has lost that integrity. So from that side, also, no matter what you buy that we in our societies deem normal, quote unquote, is not going to really nourish the body that doesn't recognize it as food anymore, because it's a constructed food instead of a natural, wholesome food. And that is also often, of course, fully impregnated, I would almost say, by all kinds of artificial additions that only make it better in the idea of it, but not in the biological reality of it. And that's, of course, also going on. So all these kinds of combinations can make you actually like a weakened whole that is like malnourished. And even though on the consciousness journey that the true twin flame journey really is, because you are progressing while you do the actual true twin flame inner work towards the consciousness state of harmonious twin flame union, and then the source nourishment comes through to you, to your soul, and you will be completely building yourself up there on the soul level from that, together with your true twin flame in your union. But it does also have a repercussion on the physical, of course. And that is where you can have a look at, maybe it translates into getting to know that I'm pretty malnourished in a sort of Western society sense, that there is food, but it's not of quality. There is a body that pretty much functions, but actually also pretty much lessened the function that it used to have because of the malnourishment. And you can start to see that through approaching your physical side, your food side, with a supportive attitude, etc., that you might feel so much better, in which you can combine with the coming in of, through the twin flame inner work, the inner union light. And then it becomes such a beautiful experience that you just approach from more sides. And that is so supportive, and that's what I said, what I always wanted. And I have completely found it now. Now, we don't have time in this video to go into what that all is, and what the solution all is, and whatnot. But we are going to research if this is true, if Divine Mother thinks through my oracle cards this makes sense or not. And we're going to find out more about it. And I feel already guided to go to a card deck. So that's where we're going to start. And I will just be guided to go from deck to deck until we feel complete in the story that Divine Mother wants to tell you through me. So let's see. This is the golden tarot with this beautiful golden side. And let's see what kind of card wants to come out and what that tells us. Okay, this one, King of Cups. So that is about combining your emotional side, the cups, and all the water, which is also a beautiful, this ocean, a beautiful symbol of your inner feelings, the heart's feelings. Combining that with the male element, the king instead of the queen, the king, which is some sort of like not the most natural seeming connection. So we want to have elements combined that are not of the most logic to combine. So that's like, I want to combine my soul union light that starts to come in more and more because I do the true twin flame inner work with the food, the Western society, but still malnourishment. And the resolve of that And I want to combine that and start to feel at home with that combination. And step into that boat or ship. Should we say ship? Step into that ship. Make that one ship. Or make the body the ship that is the beautiful, healthy, well-functioning vehicle for the union consciousness that is being created at consciousness level when you do the twin flame inner work and go to your harmonious twin flame union state of being. Love it. So unexpected, you know, you're like, what kind of card would come out? And then it's this, and it's so perfect, and you're like, how was that possible? Always like that. And then we go to Egypt, because why not? Maybe we also have boats on the Nile there, or something else. Moon Eye. Mystery School of the Left Eye of Horus, the female path. Do research to a fear or emotion that blocks you in your growth. A fear, a feeling or dream will become clear. Idea for an exercise. Listen to the voice of your unconscious and train your intuition. So I think this is true because it is the body, the nourishment of the body that's we're talking about is the female side. It is the unconscious side. It is of the journey, because like the symbolically male side, the male mystery school entrance, this is a female, or maybe you should say divine masculine, divine feminine. The divine masculine entrance to the mystery school is consciousness itself. It's very direct. It's invisible. It is directly connected to the divine. It's only that, nothing else. And the divine feminine path is more about the energy, the body, including all of that, emotions, dreams, etc. And that is the part of the mystery school that I stand for, that we do here. So that is also why I talk about food and such things, and energy and sexuality and meditation and things like that, because that belongs to that sort of mystery school instead of only consciousness strict. That's it. While it points to the same and it leads to the same. So for sure, that is also the side in which you can read that there are certain emotions that are blocking you. And they are then actually blocking your nourishment. So that's on the emotional side. True. Which is always interfering with the idea of physical food and nourishing yourself, logically. For instance, one of the ideas is that is around a lot is that, well, a lot of people have a sensitivity for gluten, and it is in bread, and bread is a widespread phenomenon of daily food that seems unmissable. And it tastes really good, it's crispy and whatnot, and it's even sort of addictive in quality almost. But when you have a gluten intolerance, you seem to be able to not able to be eat. You can't eat it anymore. Sorry. And physically, you can see that bread is not bread anymore. And it's in everything. It's in pizzas, in cookies, in health bars, whatnot. And normal bread. But in the supermarket products that have bread in it, they're not bread anymore. They're bread-like products because they don't have the right yeast. Some decades ago, the yeast was replaced by a yeast that was potentially, like, I think it was like maybe quicker or something. But it was not fit for human consumption. And that's what all the bread has nowadays. It's not fit for human consumption, the yeast in it. And because it's the yeast, it is directly interfering in your gut bacteria, because that's where the yeast is in your body. It's the wrong kind of yeast. So it's not so strange that we have all these problems and these I can't eat bread anymore problems, and I have gut problems. Bread is not bread anymore in very many other ways as well. True bread is made with yeast that is fit for human consumption and only has water, flour, and salt. And the yeast is made out of water and flour. So there are no more ingredients than that. And because it is fermented, the dough is fermented. And the yeast was fermented because that's your sourdough starter. It contains very little gluten and the right kind of yeast and no other ingredients. So you create a bread that is completely different in all ways, and it will be recognized by the chemistry of your body as bread. It will have very little gluten to begin with, and you will be able to eat it. But that is the physical approach. You also have the emotional approach. And the emotional approach is that people that have a gluten intolerance, and then you can look that up, you can make these connections, like what is going on with these people. Just like when you hit your toe, it's also, it has an emotional meaning. Feel it, think about it, go deeper in it. These are also general patterns. So what is going on with people that have a gluten intolerance? They have a father issue, emotionally speaking. And when that father issue gets resolved, you won't have a gluten intolerance anymore. So this is how these things all work together. And how does that work with doing the twin flame inner work? Well, you actually do the twin flame inner work first, always. And then you will see that these kinds of emotional cleanses are part of what will be the result of it, such as resolving your father issues. You will also start to become, like, you start to wisen up in what you are going to eat and the way your food is treated and whatnot. And that's beautiful. But, you can also listen to the tip that food can be approached in a supporting way that is fitting for when you are in harmonious twin flame union. And you can already start doing that now, with trusting this new information and just starting to implement it. That is also how it is supportive for the twin flame inner work, because then you already, let's say, start to eat the right kind of bread, so that like your caused by father issues gut health problem is already half resolved, at least, because you're now eating the right thing. So it is in that sense, it is supporting the twin flame inner work that you still might need to do, but nevertheless, there you go. It'll become clear, says the card. So there you go. Things will become clear how this works together when you start doing the twin flame inner work. You start to listen to these kinds of ideas and start to implement them. Things will become clear for you through your experience. And now we do the life purpose deck. I don't know, it feels kind of life purposey. This topic, end of malnourishment on the twin flame journey. So which card? Okay, this one, freedom. Freedom. You are free to choose. You're free to choose for these kinds of support solutions. You're free to choose the things that support you instead of the things that don't support you. You always surround yourself with things that you have chosen in the end. And when you start to see it like that, you can see like, oh, I have chosen all these non-supportive things in my life, relationships and foods and whatnot. And you can choose again. Oh, now I'm going to choose supportive, people around me that support the twin flame journey, the real one, with the real tools, etc. Instead, and I got another one, school. The answer you seek is about schooling. Well, yeah. These kinds of experiences are a school in itself, right? Because through making conscious what's going on with your health, for instance, or with your gut health or whatnot, you start to realize things. It is like a school in itself. This is also the Divine Feminine Mystery School. And both of them is what we do here. So this reading is part of that too. And this is the Divine Feminine Mystery School of the universe, updated for twin flame union. And maybe we get from the Divine Abundance cards what we're gonna learn there. I have this idea. Well, this flipped out, so this is what we're gonna take. Your path. So your path is going to be to go to this Divine Feminine Mystery School and learn all these kinds of supporting topics for doing the twin flame inner work and ending malnourishment through food and body ideas, healing structures, is one of these things. Dear Lord, help me trust that there's a plan far beyond what I can see through my fears and illusions. That's true. You need to trust that. And that's for all the things all the topics that are in the Divine Feminine Mystery School for you that will open the year group course real soon, because they might seem new and strange to you, or they might seem like, oh, but that's superfluous because I already have a meditation practice, I already have a sexual life, I already have a business structure. But now there is a way to approach that afresh and to connect it directly to the twin flame inner work core that is divinely guided, so that it becomes accessible from harmonious twin flame union consciousness. These topics, other topics, are healing, money, relationship, creativity, all these kinds of topics we'll move through, and body and health is one of them too. Dear Lord, help me trust that there's a plan far beyond what I can see through my fears and illusions. And that's why I have made that course over the past 2 decades, 3. And that is because you can't see yet where you're going, but because I went first, I have a clue about where you're going. And I can show you around in a couple of essential life topics in how that is for you, what that will be inside the consciousness of harmonious twin flame union. Divine flow. Eventually, one sublime desire takes precedence over all others to follow the Tao, the divine flow, at all costs. That's true. That's why we do that, to follow the divine flow and to apply that to all kinds of life areas that will be overflowed by Source anyway, but we will just, like prepare you for it and order it a little bit for you and give you practical ideas how to implement that. The Native American cards, the Stag 7, and a shoe in the foreground. Let me see for a moment. In the booklet, unconditional love. Just as unconditional love is complex, so too is Deer's gifts. In some creation myths, she is said to sacrifice her life so that the world may come to life. The antlers are strong symbols of strength, power, and protection. Because they are shed and regrown every year, they also represent the cycles of life, with a season for everything. Deer also symbolizes gentleness, both emotional and the idea of walking gently upon the earth and with other creatures. Hunters would pray to deer, asking for a successful hunt, and promise only to take what was necessary for life. Moccasins, those are the shoes here, remind us of the long pilgrimage that is life, our long journey towards the full expression of love. When strength is required, be strong. When forgiveness is required, forgive. Pay attention to what is needed and let that guide your actions. Gentle strength, unconditional love, knowledge of the earth, the cycles of life. Well, we're trying to make unconditional love practical by talking about the end of malnourishment. And unconditional love is certainly the answer to the end of malnourishment. Unconditional love is treading your path. With kindness towards yourself and patience and understanding the path of life with a shoe. And supporting yourself. Support yourself. So it also doesn't matter in what kind of area you want to implement this unconditional self-love. It will end the malnourishment of unconditional love in that area. That's what it comes down to. Malnourishment is about not letting the flow of the divine come in so deeply and invite it so deeply into your actual physical daily life that it can influence concrete things such as your health, your body, your food, your way you deal with your house, with your groceries. I don't know. Concrete things. You need to let the divine inner love penetrate your life real deep to make that happen. You need to allow for that. It's not already done for you. It's you need to say yes to it. You need to give the permission so that it can move into these places of your life, into these life aspects. And we're now going to get an energy point of the 9-point energy system that I created with Divine Mother. That will show us how to do that. This is energy point 1, the symbol of it, which is a ball. And it stands for the earth itself underneath your feet, underneath your body, underneath your personal energy field, as the foundational element underneath you that is always here, that always carries you, that always supports you. It's the earth itself. It is the energy underneath you. It's the ball in which your soul rests. It's your presence pressing down on the earth. It's your space on earth. So it's about taking in your space in the world and letting the you that is essentially the source energy, because that's what you are. You are unconditional love. You are the divine flow. To let that in so deeply that you are it in everything that you are, and you take in the space with your body to stand for that. So it becomes very grounding. The end of malnourishment is very grounding. It's very much planting you there. Unconditional love on the level of harmonious twin flame union is supposed to be concrete and physical and manifested, and not some sort of invisible dream in a faraway cloud. And now we're going to look into the Oracle of the Roses, grandmothers. Think about your roots, perspective, trust the interwovenness of life. Well, and weren't we just talking about rooting yourself, being present on the earth? And the grandmothers represent that force. They pass on life in multi-generations. They root you into the social structures of life itself. And they're, of course, a lot of the times the ones, socially speaking, the grandmothers that have cooked food for the children, for their grandchildren, the children of the next generation. Their grandmothers, right? Their grandchildren. So cook for yourself as if you are your own grandmother. What about that? Tip of the day. You are your own grandmother. Get that pot. Stir with love. Oh, that just touches my heart. I'm just crying now. All right, I'm just breaking over that. That's what I do. I cook for myself like that. And you can tell why. See God and serve Him in every living being. Yourself in the first place. All roads lead you home. You can't miss your destiny. Wow. So that feels pretty complete for me, I think. Cook for yourself. Do it to support yourself on the twin flame journey. And enjoy that. Feel your cells being nourished instead of nourishing an idea of the mind or of how the body should look somehow, but nourish the cells, nourish how your body actually recognizes food with the ancient food techniques of the grandmothers. That's true as well. It's very literally true as well. And that's how you serve yourself and you serve you going towards your true twin flame. It is such a gift. And every cell of your body will thank you. Yeah. We're going to get like one last answer. I have this feeling. Okay. An angel answer. We didn't have that yet. Oh, this one moved. Big, happy changes come from it. Right. Thank you, Divine Mother. Big, happy changes come from allowing yourself to end malnourishment as a support on the twin flame journey. That's what we want to hear. That's what we want to experience. So there you go. This is really shiny. She is shiny. She is healthy of spirit and of body. And the light can pass through her so well. We can all see it. And she doesn't need to hide, not in body, not in spirit. And that is the coming together of the two forces that you want in the twin flame. Because people are called on this journey to make come true not only the potential of this person exists and I feel it in the heart, but they want to make it come true in the flesh, in living together, in a romance, in a marriage, in a family, in a mission business, or whatever feels fit for you. So it combines the deepest spiritual you and the most superficial cells of the body. And that is the nature of the twin flame journey, to have both together. And that is also why it is so relevant to have the end of malnourishment also happen on this journey, because it supports one of these key pillars to make come true what you desire. That the key pillar of making it flesh, right? Which is always completely interwoven with making come true the deep spiritual place where it comes from, where it originated from, because they are deeply connected. There is no other way. So feeding the cells, ending the malnourishment there, does in fact contribute also to ending the malnourishment of the deeper soul, and letting that divine architecture that you are as a twin flame heal on the inner level too. And then they come together. They grow together more and more, the spiritual and the physical, and then it's just one. And it just starts to unfold, and that happens in harmonious twin flame union. Guaranteed. So, I hope this helps, and I hope to see you real soon again in the kitchen. I mean, in my next video. Love from Petra.